Hey guys, what's going on? Oh, I mean, hey gals. Or, oh my god, hang on, let's repeat that. Hey everybody, what's going on? It's Yuri. It's episode 2 of the Bike Ed 101 series. Today, even though I'm in the same clothes, you're probably like, hey, did you shoot this in the same day? Actually, I only shot them 5 minutes apart from each other. So here we go, let's get started. Today, I'm basically talking about what you should think about when you're buying a used bike, and is it worth investing in your old bike or just buying a new bike? You know, a lot of people always ask that question, and if any of you read any of the comments on my YouTube, tends to be a common question. So let's get into that part. Should you buy a new bike or should you fix up your used one? As you guys know, in my channel I have like lots of bikes, and I spend definitely a lot more money than they would be worth on Craigslist, or definitely even new bikes on Bicycle Blue Book. Bicycle Blue Book, in my opinion, they don't do a good job like on their assessments or valuations, and it drives me nuts. Don't use them, because if you say Bicycle Blue Book is offering this much on the bike to somebody selling theirs, doesn't matter what it is, you're going to make them mad. Because I've seen it, and it's kind of unfortunate. So what I would do if you're shopping around in the used bike market or even new bike market is look at prices online for similar bikes. You know, some bikes are going to be different, but just kind of collect what the consensus is for a bike. So some bikes like this, like the GT Zascar Elite from 2020, because I'm part of the I'm sponsored by GT, I was able to get this bike. It's not offered in the United States. I bought this bike after they were done using it for their marketing stuff. So it's actually kind of used, but it's fine. I love the bike. But how do you know if you want to get used or fix up your old used bike? My advice is, if you're kind of leaning on, you want to know what ride a bunch of bikes that are new. Go to a bike shop and just see what's out there. Just say, I'm thinking about buying a new bike. Can I just go for a test ride? You can go for a test ride for a lot of those bikes, and get a feel for it. And there's no shame in denying that it might be a cool bike. So and you might like it, and you might want to buy it, because you want to be on a bike that definitely allows you to go out and enjoy yourself all the time, nonstop. And that's what I think the money is worth. Because if you're on a used bike and you fix it up and you still hate it and you're not going to ride, you just blew all that money. But if you're going to invest in a bike that you really love, like it's sentimental to you, or you think it's really cool and you'd ride it any day of the week, like a lot of the bikes I own, to yourself, even, like it's worth the investment. And plus, think about it's not just an investment in your bike, like oh, I just dumped $600 on this bike. Think of it as like also your health. So if it gets you out there, you're happy, you enjoy yourself, that's paying it for. That's really a nice investment. It's investing in you to get healthy and to feel good. So think about that. New bikes are awesome, but old bikes are cool too. It just depends what you like. Like why the question might be like why I have a lot of bikes, because I can't pass up a good deal, and I love a lot of different bikes, so I collect them, and work on them, modernize them to where I want to ride them every day. And one of the biggest challenges really in owning a lot of cool bikes is I stand in a garage most of the time trying to figure out which bike I want to ride, because I like them so much, all of them. So that's what you have to remember when thinking about getting a used bike or even a new bike. Like, if you're trying to fix up your old bike, is it going to make you happy and still want to ride? If it is, probably going to be worth it. But if you've always been wanting to get a new bike, just be careful in doing that, because like if you buy a new bike and you like it, that's awesome, because you can and especially if a bike company has just read the details, because some will allow you to just demo a bike fully for like a month or something, and you can, if it doesn't work out, just return it. But they're probably like, hey, you're gonna enjoy the bike. The nice part about new bikes is they come with a warranty. They kind of, with a lot of usually bike shops will kick you over cool deals. Like they'll give you an annual tune-up, maybe just once every year, or at least they'll do a nice inspection or wheel true. They'll make sure everything's fine after a month of you owning it and retune it. And then after a year, they'll give you a nice free tune-up. And then after that, they'll discount your tune-ups because you've been supporting their business. Or sometimes they might even give you a cool free water bottle cage and like some deeply discounted stuff, which is nice. So every bike shop's gonna handle how they incentivize you to buy a new bike, but at least a lot of great companies. I know I've had issues. I've broken a few GT frames that were still under warranty and they honored it. So you know, and it's nice because if I bought it used from a third party, you don't get that usually. Some companies are nice about it. You know, but most of the time, the bottom line is if they find out it's a third-party purchase, they're not going to warranty that bike at all. So that's kind of the balance of buying used versus new. Plus, you don't know where the bike has been. Like, I don't like selling my bikes, to be honest. I sell them to people who are willing to fix them and they're friends of mine because they know I beat my bikes. They know the style. Like some people, they'll sell a bike and not tell you they've destroyed it or they've ridden the hell out of it, which is, and it's going to lead to problems. So be aware of that too. Things to always do an inspection on a bike. Always do that. Go on a test ride, make sure all the gears shift nicely, right? You're not going to get any skipping. Even pedal it like you're gonna write it off like it's stolen. Like pedal hard on it and see, because sometimes bikes under pressure, if you pedal them hard enough, they'll start skipping, and you know, hopefully you can negotiate the price if you're really set on buying that bike. And it goes for the new bikes at the shop. Sometimes they skip around, so you know, you need to point that out so they can fix that, adjust that for you. And there's just so many things. And when you inspect the frame, always in check areas around here, like especially in old bikes, that's not a crack, but you know, you want to check for any kind of cracks, or even question like the owner, like, is that a crack or something? Like, no, whatever. And of course check the undersides of the bike. You know, always inspect the frame through and through in these areas where you can get cracking. Even here sometimes, like out in the seat tube area, underneath. You know, even in chainstay areas, they crack here. It doesn't matter what bike. I've broken a few. I've cracked a few in these areas. And just do a really good inspection. You know, sometimes I had one bad purchase where the bottom bracket was threaded in the wrong way, and so the whole frame was ruined. But so I pretty much rode that bike until I rode it pretty hard. I destroyed it, so then I just parted out the bike. But you want to do a good inspection on used bikes, and kind of get a feel for the rider. Like ask them what trails they've ridden, what kind of style they do, because if and ask that on the email or on the telephone conversation with them, so you can look it up on YouTube or something and see what that trail is like. Hey, what trails do you ride? Oh, I ride Tiger Mountain, and I ride this is my favorite trail. If you find out it's a really rough trail, you know that bike's probably gotten beat up pretty good. So you know, always try to find out more about the rider too, because it will paint you a picture on the used bike market of what that kind of rider is, especially if you meet them and you know the guy's doing like 360s on the bike. Yeah, it's probably been well ridden. Also, you want to ask them about, just like you would a car, like maintenance. Like, oh, hey, where do you take your is there a bike shop you'd recommend, or or where would you fix, where can you do you get your fork maintained, and who does that? Like if they tell you they do all that stuff themselves, try to tease out the info to see if they're really lying to you or not. Because sometimes they'll be like, oh yeah, I rebuilt the fork, and it's like they just replace the seals, but all the internals are destroyed and they're crap. Or they do their own bleeding, but the brakes just don't, they don't feel right. It's like you're driving an old 60s Chrysler and it takes you 30 years to stop. So it's always important to do a really nice evaluation on bikes, if you're going to pursue them in a used bike market, especially even if you're buying them from pros. Like I know on Pink Bike a lot of the pros sell their bikes, and you just got to be careful about that too. So if you're buying it from the guys that compete in Red Bull Rampage, like, don't expect the bike to be new, and it might have its quirks, but keep in mind a lot of them get factory support, so they have really well-trained mechanics that try to keep that bike well oiled and running, because obviously they're athletes and they're getting that full support, and that bike is definitely a tool for them, and so it will get taken care of. So as best you can. Sometimes you'll just see the frame all dinged up and stuff, and just be honest about it. Like, if you're looking at a frame and it looks like crap and you're not planning to repaint it and it's going to bother you, don't buy the bike, because no matter what you do, it's all, you want to ride where it's just you enjoy the bike as a whole, not like one thing annoys you and you've just accepted it, because it drives me nuts. So I pass that sage advice to anybody else. So just evaluate stuff. I think for those of you that are watching episode 2, if you're curious about a bike, and drop it in the comments box, like Craigslist or eBay, whatever. Drop it in comments on this forum. If I get a chance, I'll take a look and give you my thoughts about it, and hopefully can guide you somewhere. I don't do road bikes at all, because I don't really have much knowledge in that. I ride a road bike every now and again, but it's pretty rare. So that said, hopefully this helps you kind of think about buying a used bike and what to look for, because sometimes there's just so much stuff that can go wrong on a used bike. It's been through so much abuse, like test this out, pull on this, because sometimes the chain, like, look for rust in the chain. Sometimes that's a big one. Look for the condition of the tires, because sometimes maybe you find cracking. The tire, or the material feels really hard and kind of slick and dry. It's probably old. So just be aware of that, and even here too. So and definitely pay attention to your chain. Just pay attention to a lot of stuff with the bike, like because it's sometimes you can get a bike that's been left out, or it's just been well ridden and not taken care of. So find out, always rules of thumb, find out the owner's riding style, what trails they ride, if the bike's been raced or not, if they get their bike serviced or not, and by who, especially suspension stuff, because forks is the thing that always drives me crazy about forks with people, is just because it goes up and down doesn't necessarily mean it works right. Like, just because the car runs doesn't mean, like, people are like, oh no, I faulted it, feels good. Like, so a car can drive nice but still need an oil change, because if you don't have that oil change, you're prematurely damaging that car, so it's forks are sort of the same way, and rear suspensions are, but just a hardtail, so it doesn't apply. But especially the pivots, and I'll go into another episode with that. But taking care of a fork can go a long way, because these are expensive. A good quality fork easily can be north of $500. So taking care of one, like, people are like, I'm not going to spend that much money, like, on service. It's like, but it's a $1,000 fork. You should spend $125 every year to get it properly taken care of. Sometimes it's more than that, but then ballpark, it's definitely going to be $100-200 depending, but it's always good to take care of your fork. That said, if you have any questions, or you just need my input on a bike you're thinking about or whatever, drop it in the comments. I'll try to get back to you when I can. I'm kind of surprised my channel's even picking up kind of popularity, so I'm excited for that. Thanks to everybody. I really love engaging with as many people as I can with useful stuff. So that said, thanks for watching episode 3. Haven't figured out exactly. I have a few topics. I haven't decided where I want to go with it, but if I figure it out next 10 minutes, you'll see me in the same clothes. All right, talk to you later, guys. Bye.